Okay, and I think we're ready to actually get into the run for real this time. So again, Cactus, take it away.
Not here, but that's fine. I can just main menu, just with the menuing that I was doing as we were getting set up earlier. But yeah, thank you. Welcome everyone. This is going to be Ty the Tasmanian Tiger any %. And I have been informed that the Ghost Tiger skin won the big war, so we have got that selected. Time is going to begin as soon as I advance past this screen. So if someone wants to give me a countdown, and then my co-commentator Matt, who's joined us for this, he will get underway with explaining the run and what we're going to be getting up to here. So yeah, just whenever you're ready to count me in.
Yeah, I can catch you down. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go. Okay, so this is Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. It's a 2002 3D platformer collectathon game. It's got an incredible speed run, and right off the bat, you're going to see Cactus jump over a fence here. The point of jumping over the fence is that we're going to skip a level. We're going to skip the first level of the game, and then we're going to come back.
I was not expecting that.
By skipping the first level, we can learn to swim earlier. Nice one, first try. We can learn to swim as early as possible. Yeah. And swimming in this game is a lot faster than running, especially since a few years ago the devs put out an update to the game which added a glitch that lets us swim on the ground when we're not in water. So we want to be swimming whenever we can, and we want to get the ability as early as possible by skipping the first level and coming back to it. It saves a bit of time. So now we have the ability to swim, but the problem is we only have one rang, so some of the platforming is a little bit trickier. Usually, if you do the first level first, then you get the second rang early and you can have an easier time making some of the jumps. Cactus is coming up here for his first ground swim. This is a trick called ground swimming. It lets us swim as long as we stay close to the ground. If we come too far away from the ground, it will pull us out of the swim, so we try to stay attached to an object. We can swim up some walls, but others will immediately kill the swim, so we do need to be a bit careful with it. But this wall is perfectly safe, and it will take us round to our first Thunder Egg. We need to collect... Nice one, Cactus. We need to collect a bunch of Thunder Eggs in this game. The Thunder Eggs are the main collectible. We need 17 of them in each hub. There's 3 hubs, and there's 8 Thunder Eggs in each level. Here we're going to get one by coming up against this ship and throwing the rang. The rang will curve back, and it hits the button on the other side of the wall as it comes back to us. So it opens the door for us without us having to go around to the other side of the ship. The Thunder Eggs in this game are awarded for various different things. Most of them are for objectives or little mini games, but a lot of them are just strewn around in the levels. So we'll be running into those, or we'll be collecting them by finishing the objectives. There's 1 Thunder Egg in each level for collecting all of the opals, which are these little red gem things that you'll see probably in the next level. There's 1 Thunder Egg for collecting 5 bilbies. We need to free them from cages, and there's 1 Thunder Egg for completing the time attack, which is a race through a part of the level in every level. So that's Shipwreck's completely finished. Now we're going to jump back over the fence and we're going to go into 2-0, which is the first level of the game that we skipped earlier. Nice.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the main reason we're doing that is because we want to get the... Archie, let's go. So yeah, Matt very nicely has made a reskin of Maury, the bird that guides us through the game, in Archie colors. So we're going to be guided through this level by Archie, which is really nice. He will be popping up throughout the run, but definitely 2-up is where he's going to get the most screen time, so do keep an eye out for Archie there.
Unfortunately, that doesn't validate the run if you PB, but it's worth it.
Yeah, it's worth the trade-off, yeah.
Okay, so 2-up is a fairly linear level. It's very straightforward. It's hard to get much speed here, but there are a couple of swims that we can be doing, and there's a specific section that we can swim through, which makes it a lot easier than if we did this level first. The skip there is much harder without it.
Yeah, so the whole reason of going into 2-up second is so that we do have access to the swim ability, whereas normally we wouldn't have the aqua rangs yet.
Yeah.
So fairly straightforward level. We will just be moving through and getting the Thunder Eggs here. These little creatures that we're freeing from crates, so there's 5 of those hidden in every level as well, and we get a Thunder Egg for freeing the 5 bilbies. And in the rest of the levels that we're doing, they are kind of on our route through, so we will be getting that bilby Thunder Egg.
Yeah. Because there's 8 Thunder Eggs in every level, and there's 3 levels per hub, we can get 24 Thunder Eggs in each hub. We need 17 to progress, which means we do need to visit every level, and we need to get at least 1 Thunder Egg in every level. But we can actually, with Ty, be fairly liberal with which Thunder Eggs we choose to collect. There's several routes, because it doesn't matter which ones you collect, you just need to collect the fastest ones. So we route in several of the Thunder Eggs. Usually we don't route in the Opal Thunder Eggs because it tends to take a long time. I don't think we've ever routed in an Opal Thunder Egg into any percent.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the things that made this game really accessible at first as well, because as you may imagine, there's some pretty difficult Thunder Eggs and some slower but easier ones. So when you're first starting out, you can really kind of pick and choose a route that's a lot more comfortable and not have to do some of the more extreme skips in the game,
The route,
which is
the route
nice.
that Cactus is doing here is relatively new. It's only a few months old. It makes it a lot easier to get out of the first hub, but it does sacrifice a little bit of time. Not too much though. Here we're going to be doing a main menu walk. Whenever you main menu in this game and you load back into the game, it will put you back at the start of the level, and that puts us right where the timer is to start the time attack.
Yeah, so each level has a time attack as one of the Thunder Eggs you can get. You would hope that as speedrunners, we're pretty alright to beat this level in the par time set for children playing this game back in the 2000s. But especially situations like this where we're setting up a swim which will save us time later. A mechanic of these is you have 15 seconds between each ring or it times out and loses. So if you take a bit too long to set up, sometimes you can come a bit unstuck there. But we made it out of the second level. Or the first level that we did second very smoothly there, and we're going into the final level of Hub 1 now, which is Walk in the Park.
This level used to be the shortest. It used to be about 2.5 minutes in any percent, but with the new route that Cactus is doing here, this has become the longest level in Hub 1, and it's quite brutal. There are a lot of tricks here. So the first trick we're doing here is called Slide 1 Skip. There's water slides in this level, but they take a really long time to go down, so we can skip them.
Oh.
That's okay. If we walk in a really specific way over that bit of geometry, we can slide off over into the second part of the level, skipping the first slide. And now we're going to do a swim up this wall, which will take us right to the end of the level. In most games would be cool, but here it doesn't matter because we need the Thunder Eggs. So we're going to go into a lovely mission now called Boulders, which is an auto-scroller. So if there's any donations, now would be a good time for one or two.
Yeah, I'll just take the second. Or can you say anything?
No, you're good.
Yeah, I'll just take a second to tell you all about PCRF that are raising money for. They also have a really cool treatment program where their main nonprofit is arranging free medical care for sick and injured children in the Middle East outside of their homeland, regardless of their region or politics. So since 1992, they have sent over 2,000 children to the Middle East to hospitals in the USA, Europe, and Asia for free care that they cannot access at home. So just to remind you all that we're raising money for PCRF right now, and we actually just have a new bid war that opened for an upcoming game, Frog Detective, where you can choose the dance part who wins the dance party at the end of the run. So there's a bunch of choices between different characters in the game, so make sure to get your donations in towards that. Back to you.
No! Sorry, I lost my swim by being rolled over by a boulder as you were finishing
That's a
there.
shame.
Apologies to interrupt.
That's okay.
That sucks.
So yeah, now we are...
It's okay. Yeah, it's because we need to lose the swim to climb up here anyway, so we just lost it a tiny bit early. It's not too bad.
Yep. So now we're going to play basically the entire rest of the level in reverse order. It's a bit weird, but it is the fastest way of doing things because there's easy ways to skip backwards through the level. So now we're going to go straight over into bats, I believe. Yep.
Yeah, after bats. And the turkey I just got there is definitely one of the first choke points of the run. It's RNG whether he runs towards you or away from you. And, oh my goodness, it's really kind of easy to get a lineup that'll catch one of those lines that he takes. But positioning yourself so that you'll catch either is very precise, and you can't always really react to where he's going to go. So I'm very glad that he ran towards me, which is a slightly easier line, at least for my strat. So happy that we got through that without a hiccup, because playing catch-up with that turkey can be very, very frustrating if you miss the bite there.
So bats here, we are hitting the bats. The cave bats mission is really easy. You just need to hit them 3 times and they move, but it takes them a while for them to travel to the next waypoint, so we can collect Thunder Eggs and do other things whilst we're in bats. There's some really specific movement here, which is going to look very, very strange. It looks strange to runners as well. We basically need to lose the swim in a really specific place, and then not jump when we get out of the cave entrance. Get a specific dive on a part over here for the swim. Swim up the waterfall, and then hit the bats. And if we do that and then hold the scope button, we can maintain the swim through the Thunder Egg animation, which isn't usually possible. There we go. And that means we can now swim over the side of this wall and then jump down onto a bilby. Oh, no!
It's okay.
You can go back up waterfall for that.
Where the hell do I get a swim? I can get it from here, right? Yeah, this
Possibly.
should be fine.
Nice.
Oh, we're so fine.
Nice recovery.
Nice.
Huge.
It was very stressful to improvise that, but we made it.
It's not something that happens very often.
No.
Okay, so now we are going to
Yeah.
do the last 3 bilbies, and then we will be reloading and going into the time attack.
Yeah, it's probably most of the kind of devastating mistakes that you can make in this game involve losing a ground swim, because they're quite particular on where you can set them up, and they save a lot of time getting the swim. So if you get knocked out of one, you can lose so much time. It's often a reset the run situation if you're going for PBs, but in a marathon we are going to have to be a bit more kind of cautious and more mindful of what backups we want to take if we do lose them.
Okay, now we're into the wartime attack. This is one of the water slides we were speaking about earlier. It's very, very easy. It's pretty much an auto-scroller at this point, and then we're going into a boss, which is basically an auto-scroller.
Yeah, so we have got about 2 minutes of just kind of watching the game here. So again, if there's anything else you might want to mention, host, this would be a pretty good time to share any messages that you'd like to.
Yeah, I'll just remind everyone of all the great incentives we have open right now. For True Ending and Hollow Knight, for the Dance Party Winner Bid War, and all of which contributes to our upcoming milestones that will be revealed during the day, for more bonus games and more fun stuff on Archiethon. So if you're able to donate, make sure to get that in at !donate or at the link in the panels below the stream.
Yeah, so this is a bull's pen, and the bull screams very loudly. I think the audio is probably balanced fine, that it's not an issue, but it's the scream is very funny, I think, compared to the sound design of the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Basically, we can't actually damage him ourselves. The way that we win this fight is by tricking him into diving into these tree stumps, which will knock a bit off his health. And we should be hiding ourselves behind the stump while he's kind of just playing out his animations in between, and then we stand just in front of it. And when he's about to hit us, we can bite backwards. He did hit us there. As long as he doesn't kill us, it's not really an issue. We're on 2 HP and there's 2 hits left, so it might happen, but hopefully at least one of these we don't get hit.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, getting hit doesn't lose too much time in it. This is just an auto-scroller. That's the sad part about this box, is that it just takes a long time.
Oh, we're on 1 HP.
Okay.
Yeah, surely I don't get hit again.
That wouldn't necessarily be okay if we were running on hardcore, which we do.
Yeah, so, yeah, do you want to explain a bit about that?
Yeah, so running on hardcore actually fixes some of the issues that we have in the menu. Since a new patch was released of the game, the menu is fairly buggy, and it defaults you onto the wrong option when you open the menu because the save game option is highlighted. So by running on hardcore, it removes the save game option, and that allows us to menu faster.
What? I thought it'd keep you back at the start of the fight.
No,
That's
no,
never
you're
happened
okay.
before. That was so chill.
Okay, now we're going to do a nice swim called Mission Impossible. This takes us directly into Hub 2. You can actually do this right at the start of the game after we learn to swim, so you can do Hub 2 very early, but it's probably not worth it because a lot of the Thunder Eggs in Hub 2 require that you get require that you have the Flame Rang, which is the rang you get from beating Hub 1. So it's not worth coming here early, but you can get in there early. That just saves about 7 seconds by swimming in there. Okay, and we're into Snow Worries, where Ty blends in perfectly. Here we're going to collect the 8 koalas. Now, every Ty runner knows the names of the koalas. So that was Mim. Come on, Cactus, call them out with me.
Nice.
Who's next?
I can name 2 of them, and I don't even know which ones they are.
Next we have Snugs, and then Gummy.
Yes, I know this one's
That is
Kiki,
Kiki,
the next one. Yeah?
Excellent.
Yeah. There we go.
And then from here it's Booney, Dubbo.
Booney, is that the next one?
Next one's Booney, and
Yeah.
Dubbo, Elizabeth, and Katie. Most of the start of this level
Nice.
is fairly boring. There's no swims in this level, there's no tricks. Most of the tricks in this level are clustered at the end. So the start is just you have to have good movement and good execution, that's all.
Well, there might be one swim if we're very, very lucky.
There might. There might.
Yeah.
Very rude.
So coming up in a little bit, there is a trick called lawn swim, which isn't really a ground swim like we've seen so far, but it's an out-of-water swim where we preserve the swim leaving a body of water. Even top runners, world record level contenders in this game, put this trick at about a 5% success rate. So it would be really cool if I hit it, but absolutely no expectations there. I've got it twice ever in my 150 hours of grinding this game.
Yeah, it's
In
very
runs.
inconsistent. There are ways of making it more consistent or a similar swim more consistent, but they lose time or are not worth it in this run. We do use one in 100% though. We're just finishing up getting the bilbies here, and then we will be moving on to the underwater section, which is where we might get the swim. And then at the end, you can see in the background already, there's a bunch of wooden paths. We're going to skip running up all of those. Casually, it takes about 5 minutes to run up each of those, and then you would hit some buttons at the end, which raise some platforms. We're going to skip doing all of that, and we're just going to jump up to the egg at the end.
Oh, please. Okay. That was fine. There's a weird trick there where if you spam boomerang change as you come out of the ice, it preserves your momentum a bit, so you can glide across the side.
Okay, now we're going into Yabby. Yabby, you are supposed to hit him into the ice cave, but we found it's faster to actually hit him into a wall, and then he turns around and chases you into the ice cave. So we just annoy Yabby until he doesn't like us.
Here we go.
And then we trap him in.
Let's see if we roll the 5% success
go.
rate. Lawn swim exiting here.
We might have a lawn swim coming.
Oh, I'm lucky.
Nah. That is unfortunate. Okay, so now we're going to start heading up the mountain. This is where the mill paths are. You see we'll run straight past the mill paths. We don't need to worry about them at all. We can skip doing them. There's a bilby under here, and then we need to get a couple of thunder eggs, and then we will walk across the mountain over to the mill and perform mill skip. Mill skip is one of the hardest tricks for new runners. There's 3 really hard tricks for new runners. They're doom clip, mill skip, and gate skip. Gate skip is the only one that's required for any percent, but the other 2 save a lot of time, so it is worth learning them. So we encourage all new runners to learn them.
Oh,
It's okay. That's less
that's
okay.
such a scam.
That's okay. Yeah.
Right. We have to hit these in like rainbow color order, and then we get a thunder egg out of it at the end.
Fun fact.
With the spire.
People love making
Go
fun
on.
of me. This. When I started running this game, I ran on an iMac, and Kai doesn't run, or isn't supposed to run an iMac. So the icicles had graphical glitch, which meant that they didn't have any colors. And because you're supposed to hit them in rainbow order, it was pretty much RNG whether I hit them the first time correctly, and then I could figure it out from the sound. But yeah, it's a nightmare thunder egg to me.
Yeah, it's a particularly fun one. And the spiders like to be very trolled in that cave. Almost always I expect to be knocked out of it once, but it looked like we were almost going to get away with it there, and then not quite.
Okay, here we're doing cross mountain movement. There we go, very nice.
nice.
Where we walk across the geometry in a very specific way, and it helps us get across faster. And now we're going to head up to the mill. The mill skip is here. What we're going to do is jump up onto the side of the mill, and then there's a little piece of collision that we can jump into in a gap in the corner, and then we can jump out of that and onto the top of the mill. That's okay. There we go.
If we fall all the way down the mountain, it's very, very bad. As long as we don't,
Yes.
it's chill that it takes a few attempts. Okay, there we go. Jam yourself in the wall
Excellent.
and jump around like so.
And now we can jump on a small roof, and then jump up to the bigger roof, and then jump up to the thunder egg. Excellent, perfect.
Nice.
Beautiful.
I'll take that. We really hope that one of these guys punches us. Yep,
Hey.
then we cancel the Thunder Egg animation early, which is nice. And we can't main menu back to the start because progress on the Koala Thunder Egg didn't save, so we had to use that mushroom to walk back and collect the Thunder Egg.
Yeah, it can be very scary.
That's no worries.
Alright, we're heading into Outback Safari. Outback Safari is an interesting level because you don't play as Ty. Instead, you play as the bush pig, or rather Ty riding the bush pig. And the cool thing about this level is that when the original game was made, it was made for old consoles where you would only ever use a joystick. And then it was remastered for PC, and when they remastered it, they forgot to account for input vectoring, which is where we hold both forwards and to the side at the same time. And that will give a full input of 1 to both directions, which wouldn't usually be possible on a controller. By doing that, we can move slightly faster. So yeah, that is a thing in this game. Unfortunately, they patched it out, kind of. They forgot that if you were to use a controller and keyboard at the same time, it would still be possible. So we actually use a controller and keyboard at the same time, or more accurately, we now use a controller emulator, which lets us do everything on keyboard as if it was still on the old pad.
Yeah, to not completely destroy my hands entirely, I have bound a button on my keyboard to L stick up on a controller, and we can use that to gain the 1.4 times speed from being able to go full direction forward and sideways.
It's actually fairly new, the controller emulator. Before that, a lot of people ran by using their feet to push forwards on the joystick, or like using their pinky or wrist to hold the joystick forwards. It's very jank.
I tried that at first. I got a lot of wrist pain and very quickly decided to set up the controller emulator.
Right, this is Emus.
What's going on here?
Emus is the worst mission in the entire game because it's very, very heavily dependent on RNG, where the Emus run. They all start in the same positions, so they start in set positions, and then they'll start running. The direction they run in is almost entirely RNG, which means they could end up anywhere by the end, within reason. So we have to try our best to not get frustrated by the emus, to find them, and pull them in with our lateran.
I already saw one's gone like really far away on the other side, which is so epic. Yeah. 5, okay. Yeah, I think one's like gone...
Down to...
please?
Where? Looks like he's gone down to water on the other side.
Oh, they're both here. Yeah, I see. Okay, we're fine. I thought one had gone all the way towards Ranger Ken, but this is less bad.
That wasn't too bad.
Hitting that at about the 9-minute mark is pretty average. I feel like I got a fairly fortunate start and then quite an annoying end to that news.
Yeah.
But it worked out okay.
There's only ever been a couple of 930s ever, so it is hard to get a good time in emus. It's a big choke point, especially because he's coming up to the end of the run. Not quite there yet, about 10-15 minutes off. Okay, and we're going to go into our last main level of the game, which is Bridge on the River Ty. It's most people's favourite level for the environment. We are going to start...
It's very cool. It's also probably one of the hardest levels in the speedrun, at least for me. There's a lot that can go wrong in Bridge.
Yeah, that is true. We're going to start with a nice, easy out of water swim that lets us
Surely. There we go.
straight into the second half of the level much quicker. And we're going to start the Dennis escort mission. Yes, this game has escort missions. The Dennis escort mission is you are escorting a green tree frog. It's a nocturnal green tree frog because he is scared of the dark. So we need to light up a bunch of barrels to bring him towards the end of the level, which is where his house is. Now, because Dennis continues running even when he's out of range, kind of, we want to keep Dennis running the entire time whilst we do other things at the same time. So we're going to hit the barrel, and then we're going to come off the path in a minute, and we're going to start getting bilbies, and then we're going to speed run Dennis to the end, and then we're going to come off and start doing diving missions and all sorts of other things. And we're hoping that if we're fast enough, we're going to get 2 Thunder Eggs at the same time, which will cancel the animation.
This is the best enemy placement RNG I've had in my life running this game. For the beginning of that section, by the way. Literally nothing got in my way.
So Dennis is still running here.
Oh my god, never mind.
Dennis is still running here. He's just a little bit further back, but he is going to catch up here. We do need to be a little bit careful of which barrels we hit and how, because the first 2 on the bridge, if we're not careful, Dennis won't make it before they go out. They have a timer before they go out. We can't just light them all and then run off. We do have to make sure he makes it to the barrel before it. He likes. We're coming up to the end of Dennis's route, and then we're going to immediately turn around and race to Rex's diving mission. A lot of beginners will struggle here because it is possible to soft lock into Rex's diving, but this is way too fast for that to happen.
Yeah, if Dennis reaches his house whilst you're in the middle of doing this mission, the game softlocks you, which is really funny. It happened to me once when I was first learning, and then I got really scared, and then I realized that I've actually improved my movement to the point where it's realistically never happening again. So once you get past that hurdle of you're fast enough that you're at the bottom of this dive before he gets home, then there's not too much to worry about. We ended the mission in the air there with the hope of getting an animation cancel when we finish this for collecting the Thunder Egg.
Nice.
Nice.
And now we're going to head over to Neddy, and the goal here is to get to the halfway mark in Neddy's arena. If we get to the halfway mark, roughly, Dennis will be out of range fully and stop running, and he won't start running again until...
Roger's such good pace here.
Nice. We got it.
Either something's gone very wrong,
No,
or...
that's good.
Oh, we're good, yeah.
And then when we run out, that should work. Nice.
Yeah, nice. 2 for 1 on the Thunder Eggs there, so we collected both with one animation because Neddy and Dennis completed at the same time.
I mean, 1, that shows that you are fast if you make it there in time, and 2, that saves another 3.5 seconds because you cancel one of the Thunder Egg animations and they take about 3.5 seconds. We're now going to do turkeys. Ooh, turkey.
Less scary than Turkey 1, but
It can be scary.
I mean, first I need to get up here, which is no easy feat. There we go.
So these turkeys can be a pain, especially for casuals. The goal is to bite both of them within 5 seconds of each other. So we take a really specific route.
Ooh.
Very nice. There we go.
He went the funny way, but we were still fine.
And then we're going to come back and
It's really scary when he runs up to the right.
we're going to do time attack. Now this time attack is the scariest time attack in the game because since this swim was found at the start of the level, we now swim through the entire time attack. So we're going to...
If we lose the swim at any point, we're losing about a minute of time here, which is not great. And if we lose the swim in certain points, we're going to time out the time attack because it'll take us more than 15 seconds to get to the next ring, which means we're back to the beginning. We passed. That's the scariest part of maintaining the swim, is getting up to here. So
Yeah.
I'm quite chill now. There are 2 scary bits coming up where you can lose the swim again. But there is a swim backup that we can go for if we lose it at this point, which I will be attempting. Hopefully I won't be attempting because we won't lose it, but yeah, so we want to go kind of down here. That's great. Coming down here is a bit sus. We did it. Nice. Okay, now we just have to get to the end.
And from here, the rest of the level is... and the next boss is fairly auto-scrollery, so any donations would be good now.
Yes, I was about to try to butt in.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a $5 donation from Trojan that says birds. Birds, so fun. Archiethon is birds, but we also saw some emus and some turkeys, and that went towards the true ending incentive for Hollow Knight. So if anyone else on stream wants to see some more great Hollow Knight, and in the meantime raise some money for a great charity that's really helping people in the world, make sure you get those donations in at !donation or the panel below. Yeah, this is going great. A super nice run, guys.
Thank you.
Nice, thank you.
I'll take all credit for it.
Yeah, so just clearing up the Bilby here, and then we can exit the level and get into Crikey's Cove, which is the next boss that we have to do.
The developers try to make the bosses interesting. It's up to you whether you think they did or not, but it's not like the typical bosses. They're more of puzzles than bosses. So here we go.
Yeah, so this is
Like, you go.
the casual route through this boss is basically there's these like bins all around here, and if you knock them into the water, you'll see they knock like chum into the water, which Crikey wants to go and eat. And then you figure out if you free these like canisters, Crikey will think that they're food too and try and eat those. But we can just hit them with the flamerang and explode them when he's about to, knocking some health off. But yeah, as Matt said, especially in a speedrun context, fairly simple. We just want to make sure we're not losing too much time to movement, but we're basically at the mercy of how slow Crikey wants to swim around. And pretty much you're always going to be kind of within 5 seconds of the exact same time every single time you do this boss, as long as you don't miss any of the barrels.
Okay, so big explanation time coming up. There's a lot of stuff to explain here. So
The end of the game's so broken, it's great.
yes, so there's actually 3 hubs that we would have to play your main levels from, but we are skipping an entire hub because the 3rd hub gives you the Zappyrang, and the Zappyrang is useless. It has one use in this game, and it's to turn on the generator that opens this gate. But it was discovered a few years ago that we could just swim up this tree and then jump down onto the gate
Nice.
and get over it, and that skips the Zapurang entirely, which means 3 of the levels are completely useless, and we're heading into Cass's Pass. Now, we need to do the first 2 levels. We could have done this early, but we need to do the first 2 hubs because they give us the Flame Rang and the Frosty Rang, respectively, and we need those to be the final boss. But we don't need the Zapurang to be the final boss at all. It literally only opens that gate and does a couple of things in the bonus world. Now, the goal of these last few levels is just to reach the end of them, because there's not really any collectibles in them. So here, we have several ways of skipping Cass's Pass, but this is the most common one, and it's to jump out of bounds, dive into the water, and then swim under the entire level, because the portal to the end of the level can be reached from underneath it in the water.
We do have to be a bit careful not to swim too high or too low and fall off the level or lose the swim here, but it's a fairly consistent line you can take. And to set this up, I was like holding scope while I was jumping. Celeste players, that's fairly similar to how a pause buffer might work. If I'm holding scope when I land on a surface, I'll stop moving, so I don't need to worry about sliding off it, and it can make buffering a jump a lot easier.
Now,
That's what we did there.
this level, Cass's Crest, is a boss fight, kind of. It's the cut boss fight that was in the original game during E3 demo. We need to kill shadows, so everything up to that first button is timed, and then beyond that it's an auto-scroller because we can hit the buttons before Shadow even reaches them. So we will just be running straight over to the next button, hitting it, and then same with the third one. And at the end of that, we're into the final level of the game. It'll only take about a minute from there.
Should. There is a very, very difficult trick coming up at the end of the game, which could take a little bit longer, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I've been practicing it.
Yeah, I'm hoping so then.
This is impressive. What is
Yeah.
pace looking like?
I don't have live spell open, so I literally have no idea.
Well, for the what's your PB?
RTA right now.
My PB is a 31 or 32 flat. I've been scammed out of the 31 like 10 times over the past week.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah, it's felt like a quick run. There've been a few mistakes that I've noticed, but no major hurdles, which is nice.
Do keep in mind that this is an RTA timer, and we do time this game without loads, so the time will be compared to what PB would be.
Indeed.
Okay,
Yeah. I think on my system I save about 20 seconds from load remove normally.
Okay, we might be able to figure that out then. So I'm going to have to do a long explanation now, because there is a very difficult, very confusing trick coming up at the end that is going to look very, very weird to anyone watching. So we're going into the final boss now. The boss happens in 3 stages. So the first phase is we need to destroy a bunch of turrets, which is where we need the Frosty Rang. So we're going to throw the Frosty Rang at the turret and then bite it to destroy it. I think 12 of them, and we're going to destroy all of the turrets. And then we go into the inside of this level, or the inside of the boss, which is where we have to destroy a bunch of wires, and that's phase 2, and we need the Flame Rang to break the outside of those wires, which is why we need the Frosty Rang and the Flame Rang to be the final boss. And then we're granted the Doomerang, which is the most broken Rang in the game. It's incredibly broken. The gimmick of the Rang is that when you throw it, it will put you into a first-person camera, and you can control the way the Rang moves, you can control the direction of it, as if you're in first person. Normally, we would want to throw it into the neck of the giant mech that we're standing on, there, into that ring, and that would let us go up to some pipes and then fly through the pipes until we reach the end. But instead, what we're going to do is clip out of bounds and then fly the Doomerang straight up because they hit the pipes way up in the air. And it just so happens that you can clip into the end of the pipes, just barely, and hit the final trigger to end the game. So we skip going through the entire pipe section. It saves about a minute. It is quite difficult.
It's pretty rough to line up.
But time might be coming up here.
Oh my god.
Time.
Time.
Nice. There we go.
Wow.
Nice. I was expecting that to take like 5 tries, which is why I didn't warn about time. I'm sorry.
No, great job. That was
Yeah, that's
impressive.
high. Nice. Thank you. What was the RTA time of that? I'm
The
curious.
RTA time was 32 minutes 46 when I saw it on my
nice.
stream. So
It's
pretty
possible. It is possible that that was PB, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's close. Either way, I'm happy with that. Feel like we got to showcase the run very well there, and nothing went disastrously wrong, being turkeys and doom clip. But yeah, no, thank you so much everyone who's been watching along and donating. It's a lot of fun, and thanks Matt as well for coming and joining.
Can I just
Yeah.
give a massive
I guess
shout
a couple-ish. shout outs before we go. Yeah, if you want anything you want to say, Matt.
Okay.
You go first.
So
yeah.
massive shout out to the Thai community and the modding community, because a lot of the stuff that we've been able to figure out from the game has come from combining the modding and speedrunning community. If anyone wants to run the game, please feel free to join the Discord. It's a really, really fun run. We've got a great community around it. We've made a multiplayer mod so we can do co-op runs as well, so that's been really fun. But yeah, please do join the community if you're interested. Big shout out to the community.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. Shout out the Thai community, and thank you, Matt, for joining on this as well. It's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed my time learning this game. But yeah, I've been Cactus. I've been grinding this game for a little while. Probably take a little break from it now. Maybe I keep going to push for my 31. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun learning this game. I've been glad to sort of get to know the community and get all through it. And yeah, thank you so much for having us on at Archiethon. Cheers.
Yeah, of course. Great run. And I'll go to intermission now. Thank you guys. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Okay.